Hello everyone and welcome to Shelby This Week. On today's newscast, a chapel closing, Veterans Speaks, and Chief Jean Shepherd Park. All this plus much more, but first, a local church is closing its doors. New Hope United Methodist Church on Van Dyke and 24 Mile, a major part of Shelby Township's history, decided July 1st will be the last day their doors are open for prayer. The tough decision stems from financial problems. About 20 members showed up at a meeting recently to vote on the closure. Back in the summer of 2001, Hope Church that previously resided at that site was purchased by the township. The historical building was carefully moved. Crews lifted the old building, slowly driving it down Van Dyke, moving power lines and anything else that got in the way to its new destination on the municipal grounds as part of Shelby and Disco's history. Hope Church had been around since 1863. Once the old building was moved, a new one was built in its place. Currently, there are 130 registered members at the new Hope Church. Only about 30 show up for Sunday service.
Meaning the township and the historical committee obtained the church for $1 and had it moved. Otherwise, they were going to tear it down. The congregation was very supportive. They contributed money because the items at the church area had to be filled in, the hole and basement and what have you. So they put forth the money for that because they were interested in saving the building also. The building was moved. The township officials were supportive at that time. They managed to get it put back together, and today it's being used, I understand, constantly for weddings. We thought it would be part of Disco. There's not much left of Disco. 55 years ago, it was full of houses. It was a thriving community. Now it's 99% business, I guess. And it's part of Shelby Township's history, and we wanted to preserve it.
Ironically, Old Hope Church was moved because two churches joined and they needed more room. Now, the original Hope Church is on municipal grounds, and the new Hope Church unfortunately doesn't have enough members to survive. We contacted the church for comment. No one could be reached. We hope all members of the congregation find a new home under the roof of other local churches. Commander-in-Chief of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, William Thine, was in Shelby Township recently. Thine served in the Navy from 1969 till 1974 and served 5 years in the Indiana National Guard. He's received several medals and stars. He was at the Old Settlers VFW post in Shelby Township. Supervisor Rick Stathakis gave a proclamation to Thine. Vietnam veterans gathered at the VFW post to hear Thine speak. We had an opportunity to ask the commander about veterans' goals and cuts made recently.
Well, I think our national legislative services and what we do in Washington, D.C., working with our lawmakers to ensure that we maintain the level of services for our veterans and our families that we have. So we're really active in that area. So we have to just keep addressing Congress about veterans issues. Yeah, there was actually a 1%, what we call a 1% COLA penalty that we fought for our retirees, and they scrapped that plan. However, they have a retirement pension committee that they have formed to look at military retirement. So we're going to keep on top of that to ensure that our veterans that decides to stay in the military and make a career of it gets what they deserve.
Along with the proclamation, a 70-year veteran received a pin from the group. It was an important visit for Thine. He and his wife reside in Indiana. And speaking of veterans, the township will be hosting their very own Memorial Day ceremony. Scheduled for Sunday, May 25th, the ceremony will be at 1:30 at the municipal grounds to honor our veterans. All are welcome to attend. A new space is reserved for police officers, firefighters, EMS, and their families. John Martin tells us more about a new memorial.
At Resurrection Cemetery in Clinton Township, a memorial to honor first responders was dedicated on Wednesday, May 14th. This memorial is placed in front of the Garden of Serenity Mausoleum, where many public safety personnel are interned.
I speak for all of us in the police, fire, and EMS services when I say thank you, Resurrection Cemetery, for recognizing our chosen professions with this wonderful and special tribute.
You see, a case might be made that what motivates men and women to wear the uniform is some John Wayne vision of swooping into the most courageous circumstances, the most dangerous circumstances of someone's life, saving them from their own calamities, then dusting themselves off to hop back on a fire truck to play it out again and again, like some weekly television drama. But the statistics would indicate otherwise, that the lives of first responders can be antithetically punctuated by the cadence of tedium, with an underlying haunting mindfulness that there is no such thing as routine. There is a high probability that somewhere in America, a first responder died yesterday. And if you are aware of the statistics and recognize the law of averages, another will die today, and then again tomorrow, and so on, for the rest of our lives. The men and women committed to the public safety, the professionals who operate in the realm of emergency response across all three disciplines know there is no such thing as routine. To fully appreciate the mettle of the first responder, please consider the term used at the onset of a military campaign: the fog of war, the uncertainty of situational awareness, the unknown, a constant condition which attributes to the greatest underlying risk to every first responder and is ever present, yet they go forward.
The main significance of this dedication and having this memorial here is that those that are in public service, first responders, police, fire, and EMS, will feel that the community does care about them. I mean, here's Resurrection Cemetery has taken it upon themselves to create this memorial, a place that law enforcement, police, fire, and EMS officers could be laid to rest. Again, when we're out in the community, we do this on a daily basis, and it's our job. And again, we do get the thank yous, but this just makes it a little bit more personal when you've got a community that comes together, the cemetery that comes together and dedicates this in our behalf to the men and women of public safety.
For more information on this monument, call Resurrection Cemetery at 586-286-9020. For Shelby This Week, this has been John Martin reporting.
Such a beautiful memorial for our heroes. Speaking of heroes, Chief Gene Shepard Park will be opening soon. Gene Shepard was fire chief for Shelby Township, who lost his battle to cancer 2 years ago in May. The old soccer city on 23 Mile near Ryan Road has gone through major changes, evolving into Chief Gene Shepard Park. New picnic tables, playscapes, a gazebo, and more has been added to help honor Chief Gene Shepard. The grand opening of the park is on Sunday, June 1st. All are welcome to attend. Coming up, animal cruelty, how you can help, the medical examiner's office, and a caregiver's fashion show right here in Shelby Township. Stay tuned.
Lamia Dolce is a place in town for world-class chocolate, coffee, and fresh baked goods. Our chocolate is made to the highest standards right here in Shelby Township. No wax, no fillers, no preservatives. It's a commitment to quality that makes Lamia Dolce the destination for all things delicious and fun. Our cafe is a perfect place to meet up with friends to enjoy gourmet coffee, freshly ground espresso, baked goods, or a real fruit smoothie. Here's something new. Try our bubble tea. Lamia Dolce is located on the northwest corner of 25 Mile and Shelby Road.
Come to Lamia Dolce for the premium chocolate, coffee bar, and more.
Despite being a felony, animal cruelty happens nearby more often than we think. Stacy Sansatera takes an inside look at how a few simple steps can bring an end to animal cruelty.
The most important component to stopping or seizing animal neglect and cruelty is that the residents speak up when they see it.
All too often, animal cruelty remains undiscovered. Public awareness in reporting suspicions of animal cruelty play a critical role in prevention.
So it's my experience that most animal cruelty and neglect is preventable, totally avoidable. You know, taking them to the vet, getting them some care. If you can't afford it, there's organizations out there to help you, so it's avoidable.
Animal cruelty can be either deliberate abuse or simply the failure to take care of an animal. That being said, the issue of blatant neglect was very clear in a recent case brought to the attention of animal control.
We received a call from a concerned neighbor for us to go check, do an animal welfare check on this dog. So we go out there to this home in Clinton Township. We view the dog. We immediately can tell the dog has no fur, has just sores all over the front of it. We also noticed that the dog was bleeding out its rectum. So we immediately knew there's a lot of neglect. And then when we did our investigation even further, because we removed the dog from the home, and it was a situation where the owners of the dog felt they were doing nothing wrong.
And being removed from such hideous circumstance was the best thing that ever happened to Brutus, as he is finally receiving the care that he so desperately needed.
But we, had to treat him. He had mange, he had Demodex mange, he had staph infections on his skin, he was bleeding out his rectum, he had Coccidia and Giardia, which are 2 intestinal parasites. So we treated him for all that. So all these things were treatable. It's just that his owners failed to provide that treatment for him. It bothered me because of his demeanor, that he was so friendly, so happy. And I thought, how could you abuse any animal, let alone you're abusing this dog that absolutely doesn't want to do nothing but give you attention?
And so we must be the eyes and the ears of those that can't speak up for themselves. Here are 7 warning signs of animal cruelty. Howling or barking for a sustained period of time. Singed, matted, chronically or excessively dirty hair or fur. Wounds, unusual scars, hair loss, frequent limping, often on different legs, or signs of improper nutrition, such as weight loss or prominent visible ribs. Animals kept caged or tied with little room to move for long periods of time or without regular interaction with people. A lack of protection from the weather. Collars, leashes, or halters so tight they visibly dig into the animal's face or neck. And a large number of animals coming or going from a property.
Because we can't be everywhere, right? So we really rely on the residents to look at maybe something that's going on next door or behind their house or maybe down the street or a relative's home and bring it to our attention and say, listen, you need to go check this out.
And right here in Shelby Township, animal neglect and cruelty complaints are taken very seriously.
We will send officers out to the residents. If the caller wants to be seen and wants to give information, further information than what she did to our dispatch, we will take that information. We will investigate the animal complaints to the fullest. If it needs immediate action, we will take that action, or we will forward it to the Macomb County Animal Control Unit.
Well, I can definitely say the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office does take animal cruelty cases extremely seriously. And in fact, Eric Smith's office assigned 2 people. So we have Daniel Goldberg, Heather Rogers. Both of those prosecuting attorneys are assigned to animal cases. So they specifically will do animal cruelty and animal neglect and any other animal charge that we bring upon, a resident or a defendant. And they do not negotiate them out. So once you're charged, you are charged with that. They do not plead them down.
The laws are getting tougher, and we must band together on this issue that truly belongs to all of us. And so, do not hesitate to call for help if you see an animal in distress. For Shelby This Week, I'm Stacy Sansatera.
And remember, there are so many adoptable pets at the Macomb County Animal Shelter just waiting for their forever home. All animals at the shelter are ready to give all their love. Save a life, adopt a pet. It truly is the best choice for you and your family. The medical examiner's office does more than just death investigations. Macomb County Medical Examiner Dr. Daniel Spitz and his team held a conference recently. They compiled data, compared information, and gave us findings in the recent deaths in the county, which they ultimately used to help the living. According to a recent study by Dr. Spitz and his team, there's been an increase in hospice care and also choice of cremation. Here's more from the medical examiner.
Interesting findings that have come to light after compiling the data for 2013 is that, number one, the total number of deaths that occurred in the county reached an all-time high in 2013. There were 8,246 deaths in the county, and this really is consistent with a population that is choosing to age relatively in place. The population of Macomb County is aging, and the number of deaths reaching an all-time high is indicative of that. Now, the medical examiner's office does not investigate every single death which occurred within the county. The medical examiner's office conducted more death investigations than in any year previously. The total number of death investigations was calculated to be 2,122 deaths. Again, that's the most deaths investigated by the medical examiner's office when compared to any previous year. It was a 10% increase from 2012. Looking at that number in comparison to the total number of deaths indicates that we investigated with a formal death investigation in 26% of all deaths in the county.
Not every death is reported to the examiner's office. They investigate only deaths that are sudden and unexpected, deaths that occur without medical assistance, outside of a hospital medical institution, deaths that involve children, deaths that occur while in custody, any death deemed suspicious related to an accident, suicide, or homicidal behavior. Most deaths that happen in the county don't get reported to the medical examiner's office. There was a catwalk in the township recently, a fashion show for appreciation of caregivers. Katie Shimatero was at the story and has more on this fabulous event.
I'm here at the 32nd annual Mork Caregiver Appreciation Day and Kohl's Caregiver Fashion Show. The Macomb Oakland Regional Center hosts the largest fashion show in the Detroit area and one of the largest events honoring caregivers in the entire country. Event organizer Joe Zenawagas explains how the event originally began.
Back in the olden days when caregivers weren't paid enough and they needed advocacy to help them get recognition and to be respected for the hard work that they do, we started the Caregiver Appreciation Day to say at least thank you, and we're going to try to get things better for you and appreciate you more. So it has a long history of appreciation for caregivers who do a wonderful job.
Over 100 volunteers are here today, including those representing Kohl's, who has provided the clothing, and Giggles Salon, who has provided hair and makeup. After hearing about the event from a friend and member of Mork, Katie Raznick, the manager of Giggles Salons here in Shelby Township, knew she had to be involved.
We were so impressed with what goes on here. We wanted to donate our time. We're very into giving back to the community. We find it very rewarding. I mean, we'd be nothing without our community, so we're going to give back to them. So, of course, when she told us about it, we jumped on it right away.
And while some caregivers find out about the event through their patients, they are just as eager to participate in the fun.
We found out about it through MRC. We're new clients to the agency, and so they invited us to come be a part of it, and it's a really exciting opportunity.
Lana wanted to go, and so I came with her. I've never been before, so I thought it'd be fun.
Mark Hackle joined the event to help honor caregivers for all the wonderful work that they do.
Here's an opportunity to give back and to recognize people that are working on the front line, giving care to those in the community that really need that support. And by God, I mean, these are people that truly are doing God's work, and they really care about people. This is sometimes what they do is difficult. Not everybody can do this, and they do, and they need to be recognized for their efforts.
And what a fun way to celebrate and honor those who give their time, energy, and love to care for people with special needs. Reporting from the Palazzo Grande, I'm Katie Shimatero, Shelby This Week.
That fashion show is always such a great event. American Idol. It's a popular TV show. The idea behind American Idol? Everyday people with talent finally get their chance to sing and become a star. The show is down to 2 singers. One is from Michigan. Farmington Hills native Gina Irene is one step closer to being an American Idol. The new star was back in her hometown recently. A parade was held in her honor. Locals came out from all over to wish the young singer good luck. She and one other contestant, Caleb Johnson, will compete for the title and a recording contract. Best wishes to Gina. Always exciting to see a local Michigander making it big. For the 3rd straight year, Utica Community Schools has qualified for school funding. The UCS Board of Education on May 12th showed the 8 guidelines established by state lawmakers that UCS abides by as part of the school aid budget. The district has qualified for approximately $1.5 million in state funding. Utica Community Schools has met best practices legislation every year. The incentives have been included in the state of Michigan's school aid budget. As part of celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, there's a local student artwork contest. All high schools in the county are eligible to participate. Right now, the artwork is on display at the Senior Center. Reverend Mikhail Curro tells us more.
This is our 2014 Martin Luther King Holiday High School Art Contest traveling exhibit. It is part of our Martin Luther King celebration. This is the third year that we've had the high school contest, and these are some of the pieces from that contest, including down here is the top 3, and they travel throughout the county in hopes that we can get the pieces more exposure than just our annual Martin Luther King event. So they've already been to the city of Sterling Heights, they've been in the city of Warren, they've been at the Clinton-Macomb main branch library, and they're here at Shelby Township for the month of May.
A volunteer Martin Luther King Celebration Committee judges the pieces. They pick the top 3, and those 3 receive awards. This is a third year the committee has held this art contest. Stop by and check out the talent of the local high school artists. Trashy Treasures are coming to Shelby Township. 2 township committees, beautification and recycling, are co-hosting a creative contest. Combine discarded materials and create a trashy treasure masterpiece. All Shelby Township residents are welcome to join in on this friendly competition. Entries must be submitted by August 1st. Winners will be chosen from voting by fairgoers at the Shelby Township Art Fair on August 9th and 10th. In health news, a common antidepressant may cut out Alzheimer's. Research shows that citalopram, which commonly sells to people as Celexa, may cut out production of one of the chief suspects behind Alzheimer's. This is a new avenue in the hunt for drugs to prevent devastating brain disease. More than 5 million Americans already suffer from Alzheimer's. Scientists still don't know exactly what causes the debilitating disease. A startling pattern has been found. Women are nearly 4 times more likely to develop multiple sclerosis than men. Studies found that blood work shows that cells which cause inflammation leads to MS, and it's found in greater amounts in female brains than in male brains. Doctors are looking into medicine that blocks the problem, but follow-up research is still in need. MS is a debilitating disease that affects the body's immune system and also the brain and spinal cord function. More than 2 million people worldwide suffer from that disease. Up next, bald eagles, eggs hatch, but how many are there? Stay tuned.
After failing to inspire interest from manufacturers, engineer J.P. Thompson sells his self-centering screwhead design to Henry F. Phillips in 1935. After a few changes to the design, Phillips Screwhead is patented for the American Screw Company of Providence, Rhode Island. One of the first to use Phillips Screwhead is General Motors for use in its Cadillacs. Phillips eventually sold all the patents to the Ford Motor Company in 1945 for roughly $5 million. And though Henry may be gone, there's a good chance you'll end up mentioning his name Phillips if you're working with a screwdriver. But had J.P. Thompson eventually sold his original idea, your Phillips head screwdriver might be called a Thompson head screwdriver.
The bald eagles in Stony Creek now have a family. As we recently reported, 2 bald eagles set up a nest in the north end of the park. Bird watchers and Stony Creek volunteers have kept a close eye on the eagles. Something unexpected happened. Bird watcher and volunteer Ruth Glass tells us more.
Oh, the update is on May 5th, Monday, May 5th. I got the great news that we have 3 babies. We thought we had 2, but a third smaller head started popping out of the nest on Monday. Yeah, it makes me a little nervous. I would rather they just had 2 babies because the third typically does not survive. Chances are less than 50% that bird will make it. It's very hard for the third bird because they're the last born. They're born 2 or 3 days after each of its successive siblings. So it's going to have a hard time in the nest. It'll be smaller, weaker for picking up the food, and siblings tend to pick on each other in the nest as well.
This is a historic event for the township. Back in mid-April, eggs were seen in the nest. Now the furry eaglets will be raised by their parents. The siblings will stay in their nests for a few months. If you have a chance, stop by Inwood Trails, bring your binoculars, and check out the new eaglets. So by the 4th of July, in about 11 weeks, they'll be able to fly. And that's Shelby This Week. You can watch us online all the time at shelbytv.org and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ShelbyTWPTV. Thanks for watching.
Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea.